Thanks for joining me, Clara, on this guided visualization for sleep based on discovering the Crystal Cavern. Before we begin, please find a place where you feel comfortable and can rest. A quiet, dimly lit area where you can really relax. Please take a few moments to become as comfortable as possible, covering your body with a blanket, adjusting your pillows, or doing whatever you need to let your body know it's time to rest. Then, as you settle down, allow your eyes to close and your breath to slow. Slowing the mind down. Now, let's invite the body to rest. Beginning to breathe a bit more deeply as you feel the weight of your body in your resting place. Telling your head to sink deeper into your pillow now. And make sure that the shoulders and neck are relaxed. It's time to rest. Allow your back to soften too. Again, sinking deeper into your pillows. It's time to rest. And if your body starts to shift or reposition in this meditation, that's okay. It's natural. Allow yourself to make adjustments as needed to ensure the best comfort and relaxation. Now it's time to drift. Drift away from anything going on outside of your body. Drift away from any sounds outside. Drift away from your surroundings. And drift away from your stream of consciousness. As you feel yourself diving deeper into the subconscious mind. Allow any sensations to come and go like waves. Your breath is your anchor. And if you feel yourself drifting into sleep before this visualization has ended, that's okay. It will always be here for you to revisit. king tides occur once or twice a year along the coast, when the orbits and alignment of the Earth, Moon, and Sun combine to produce the year's highest water level. During the king tide, the water is deep enough for you to drift through a seam in the cliffs on the northwestern side of the island into the Crystal Cavern. The Crystal Cavern rests on a subterranean magma chamber, and intense amounts of heat and pressure have formed the crystals inside it for over the past 250 million years. In a sense, the cavern is actually a geode, a void created by an air bubble inside a volcanic rock filled with crystals formed by mineral deposits. However, whereas most geodes can fit into the palm of your hand, the Crystal Cavern is almost large enough to fit a house inside. Typically, this coastal area is a wave-churned basin, frothy with foam, whipped up by the combers that roll in from the reef. But today, the watery world here is quiet and lovely, with a slight breeze and soft ripples on the surface of the sea. The air carries the scent of brine, life, and richness. You've been paddling along, hugging the cliffy shoreline for several hours now. The sea is very clear. And occasionally, when you pause to rest, you look down into the depths over the side of the kayak. Underneath, the glassy world teems with life. Crabs scurry about, from frond to frond of the waving stalks of seaweed. And sometimes black eels poke their heads out of crevices to peer at you. Large, brilliant orange starfishes are attached to the rocks next to limpets, mussels, and black sea urchins. An octopus moves slowly from underneath a rock, camouflaging itself to resemble the rock. Now changing to look like a bit of weed. Now a rock. It oozes and flows across the seafloor. And then disappears. Some sea lions are basking over there in the sun on a large slab of rock. They're also camouflaged, blending with the grey stones. They're sound asleep. But when you approach them in the bright yellow kayak, they immediately wake up and turn their heads to gaze at you with dark, limpid eyes. Then, one or two dive quickly off the rock and disappear underwater. After paddling for a while, you discover the notch in the cliffs that leads into the Crystal Cavern. And you carefully line the kayak up and maneuver deftly through the entrance, riding on a gentle swell. The entryway is crusted with glossy, shimmering crystals. Once inside, the cavern resembles a gypsum chapel, crammed with groves of glassy towers. The interior of the cavern is lined by a narrow beach. So you get out of the kayak and pull it out of the water onto the shore. You can feel the pulse of the sea from outside the cavern. Although the water here is magically still, it swells gently up and down with the current, like a living, breathing thing. Underneath the entrance to this pool is a flooded upside-down arch where the waves have rounded off the edges from the crystals. Under there, the arch glows with otherworldly molten emerald daylight, engulfed by the sea, giving the Crystal Cavern an aquamarine tinge of extraordinary delicacy. The water goes from a translucent light green to an increasingly darker green. Bathed at the bottom of the pool, glittering accumulations of crystals give out indescribable, glowing irradiations through the water. There's a medley of colors. Azure, silver, gold, and mother of pearl. And each swirl of the sea creates a prism. Broken pieces of drowned rainbows turn and twist in a kind of auroral transparency. Here inside the Crystal Cavern is a union between the wildness of nature and the awe-inspiring misshapen creation of chance. Elsewhere in the corners of the cavern, there's a kind of opaque moonlight in the water. You sit down on the beach underneath another subterranean natural arch. The crystals formed around the arc of it are supersized and transparent enough to clearly see through. The radiant light from under the water scatters across the surface of the crystals into a sort of visionary diffusion. The Crystal Cavern is unexpected and completely astralized. The formation of the place has an element of impossibility. You see it, feel it, and are in it. But still, it's difficult to comprehend that it exists and that you're inside it. The feeling here is almost sacred. Heightened by the unfamiliar energy emanating from the crystals. After a while, you sense the tide is beginning to turn. So you get in the kayak, push off the beach, and ride a small swell back out into the open water. The sun is lower in the sky now. It probably won't start setting for about another hour. But the late afternoon light has a magic hour feeling. The air is warm with a slight breeze that ruffles your hair. This time of day brings tranquility to your heart.